What's up, people? I am one of your hosts, Phoenix. So what is this about?
I just found out I'm allergic to electricity.
You're allergic to electricity. And what is...
Don't get around me. You got electricity in you.
I think I'm...
Are you allergic to... Oh, you're allergic to it too, aren't you?
No. Allergic to your bull. All right, so today's topic is going to be our top 5 favorite consoles of all time.
And before we jump in, don't forget to like and subscribe.
So, Titan, you want to kick us off?
All right, so I'm going to start with my number 5 with the PS3.
All right.
The PS3 was a staple for me. It was the game changer. Notably, the 3 games that I started with this was Grand Theft Auto 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and Minecraft. Those
all
were
classics. All classic games.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, all 3 are games that people are playing today.
Exactly. And I remember just those were the games that I would get off school and then just go home and play until 1 o'clock in the morning and then wake up wondering, wow, am I so tired?
Oh my God, yes. PS3 had so many great games.
It did. I mean,
did you like the Infamous series?
I played Infamous 1 and I enjoyed it, but I never got like too into it.
Oh, I played all of them.
Did you?
Them, yes.
Do you want to take us into your number 5?
Yes. So my number 5 is going to be the Wii. And I'm going to be honest with you. One of the only reasons why this is on this list is because of this.
Absolutely wild. Double shoe check.
Let's do this. Let's go, bro. Come on.
Oh.
Wii was an incredible system, and when I think about systems themselves, I'm thinking about not just the games, but what the actual box does. And the Wii, well, Nintendo in general, they're really good at that, right? So it was the first console that had motion controls, right? And it just took the world by storm. Now, again, the attachment rate was probably the worst of any console in history. Everybody had maybe 1 game, and usually that was Wii Sports. But that was enough, right? You pulled it out, dusted it off once a month, once every 2 months, you get some friends over, and you bowl.
The only time I ever played the Wii, I never owned a Wii myself, but the only time I played one was at a friend's house. Right. We were having a party, and they're like, oh, here's Wii Sports or Just Dance.
Yes. One of my favorite memories partying is with the Wii.
With the Wii?
Yeah, you just can't beat it. All right, so take us to your number 4.
All right, my number 4 is going to be the PS2. Again, you can't go wrong with the PlayStation 2.
No, you can't.
Notably, my favorite game on the PlayStation 2, and I said this in one of the previous videos, was Spider-Man 2.
Right.
I mean, to this day, you cannot get better than that game. The graphics are outdated, but I mean, at the time, it was like probably one of the best games ever. Right. I would say so, personally.
Oh, yeah.
What about your number 4?
My number 4, what will that be? I think my number 4 is going to be the Sega Genesis.
Ooh, okay.
So, my first console ever was the NES.
Okay.
But I only had collectively maybe 2 games on it.
Yeah.
But the Sega Genesis was about the time where I was actually starting to really get into video games with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which came with the system. And me and my brother would play it. I always make him play Tails, so he always got left behind. NBA Jam was a big game back then. Loved playing that. And of course, my favorite fighting game of all time, Mortal Kombat. Yeah. And Mortal Kombat 2 was one of my favorite ones on that console. That was such a good console. It was the controller also that I loved, because I had the one that had the 6 buttons.
Really?
Yeah, okay. And that was the one that kind of mimicked the controllers in the arcade, because before then, you had the NES that had 2 buttons, the A and B, and then you had the original Sega or Sega Genesis that had 3 buttons, I was like A, B, and C. Okay. It wasn't until they kind of iterated on that where it had 6 buttons. So, yeah.
That's really cool.
History lesson.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
History lesson. All right, so let's jump into your number 3.
All right, my number 3 is the GameCube.
Ah, nice.
One of the best.
Yes, classic.
Yep. Really, the only game I can actually remember myself actually playing was Pac-Man World.
Oh, okay.
And did you ever play that?
Yes, I did.
It was like game changing for me. It was so cool to be able to play Pac-Man like a real person.
Right.
And it was just so cool to me. It was the entire experience. I never played Pac-Man World 2. I hear that it was not as good.
Right.
So just sticking with the first one, it was phenomenal for me.
I gotcha. On the GameCube, one of the, or two games that I played on there the most was NCAA football and then Madden. Because back then you could actually take characters and have them go through a college career and then be drafted into the NFL.
Really?
And so I would create my character. I created a whole school, created a character. I played my 4 years, drafted, and then traded for that character so he could be on my team.
That is awesome.
I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I didn't even know Madden was on the GameCube.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, so was Mortal Kombat.
Was it?
Yes.
That is insane.
Yes.
That's really cool.
It is.
That's really cool.
So my number 3 is the PlayStation 4. One of my favorite consoles of all time. Of course, it's on my top 5. But Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us, which actually debuted on the PlayStation 3, but was remade on the PlayStation 4, and actually it's remade again. Those are two of my favorite PlayStation exclusives, and they were right there.
Okay.
And that's not including the God of War, the new God of War, 2018, and Uncharted.
Okay.
So love that system. I think I played. Oh, and Destiny. Destiny. Yes. Destiny. I played so much Destiny.
Oh, really?
Yes, since 2014.
That's one of your favorite games.
It is. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So we got the best content on the PlayStation, and I was so happy to be on there. But yeah, it was a smooth system. I think in our last video we talked about how they took a lot of their cues from the 360 and added to the PlayStation 4, so the store was much improved and really good, and the network was great. So I love that system. Yeah,
I definitely like the upgrade from the 3 to the 4, look-wise.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we're on to your number 2.
All right, my number 2 is going to be the Game Boy Advance.
Nice.
And I'm gonna say that my list gets older and older each time. But the Game Boy Advance, one of the games that I just talked about, Pac-Man. On the Game Boy Advance, I played the Pac-Man the Collection.
Okay, gotcha.
And I absolutely love that. And I guess it's just the nostalgia. And it's like there was so many really good games for the Game Boy Advance, and that's what the Game Boy is like, all of them together.
Right.
Not just the Advance. I'm just using that one as mine.
I got you.
I think that was like peak gaming for that generation.
Right.
But really the Game Boy Advance, that was like just a really great console for me, or handheld console.
And it was. Nintendo makes some fantastic handhelds, for sure.
They really do.
Yeah.
All right, so that would bring us into your number 2.
So my number 2 is going to be the Xbox 360.
Okay.
Now, this is, I think I've explained before, when I first got into RPGs.
Yeah.
And that is what opened up my gaming mind. It just blew it away, right? With Oblivion, so Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and then eventually Skyrim. Gears of War, I love the Gears of War series. That's what got me into Mass Effect and the Mass Effect series. So many amazing games. Oh, and I have to give a shout out, if you're a JRPG fan, Lost Odyssey, one of my favorite turn-based RPGs.
Okay.
So yeah, love the 360. Again, as I talked about in the other video, that was where streaming began. Was the 360 with the introduction of Netflix.
Yep.
So.
And I'm surprised I didn't mention this on my number 5 with the PS3. That was my introduction to Skyrim as well.
That's right.
And I guess that would be another one that changed how I played games.
Exactly. Agreed. 100%. Yeah, Skyrim was such a game changer. You got Skyrim and GTA 5. I mean, those were just, it's crazy that those games came out back in the PS3 and Xbox 360 era. And now we're here, 2023, and people are still playing it.
Exactly. It's crazy.
It is. All right, so let's get it down. What's your number 1?
My number 1 is going to be the Nintendo 64.
Nice.
I've said it before. I love, and I only had 2 games that I can remember on this, and that was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64. Those were the only 2 games I can remember actually playing.
And they're both classics.
They're the best games ever.
They are.
To this day, I wish that I could sit down and buy me a Nintendo 64 and play those games all over again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it would be really disappointing in today's times, but still, they're just amazing.
Yeah, the nostalgia is great. And they were, they are still classics today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely agree with you.
All right, so drum roll to your number 1.
So this is crazy. So your number 1 was a Nintendo platform?
Yep.
Mine is 2. My number 1 is the Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Now,
interesting choice.
It's not because of just the games. I do love the games. Some of the consoles I mentioned before have better games.
Yeah.
But this is, as Nintendo likes to do, this is your first system that you could play in handheld mode and on your TV.
That is true.
That is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I remember when PlayStation was still having handhelds.
Yeah.
PlayStation Portable and the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah. And both of those were supposed to be like, hey, these are very powerful systems, and you can play, you know, games that you would normally play in your living room on the go, and they didn't ever quite get there.
Yeah.
But the Nintendo, that was something completely different, especially if you are a JRPG or RPG fan.
Yeah.
There are so many Japanese RPGs on that game, including, of course, one of my favorite series, Pokemon, and Fire Emblem, that I can take on the go. You know, and you know, as adults, we're driving, so you know we really can't do that. But if I'm at a park or I'm hanging out with my kids outside, hey, I can play it. If I'm sitting in the living room with them and they're watching one thing, I want to play something else. There you go. I got my system. And then when I'm ready to relax, I can dock it and I can jump in and play. And that to me is just mind blowing of how they've done that. And I really hope that when they come out with a sequel, that it actually is just an iteration of this, because again, we know how Nintendo are. They dance to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah. And I would say, speaking on the handheld consoles, the PlayStation Portable, that was probably like an honorable mention for me. Like at the time, that was a really good handheld console.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at the time, but then they released the PlayStation Vita, which I was really excited for. I was so excited for, and I didn't get it until like four years later. And I should have done my research on it. I really should have, because that was horrible.
Yeah, I never got a Vita. I wanted to. I think the game I wanted to get first was going to be Uncharted Golden Abyss. I think that was the name of it. Because that was a console where they're like, hey, we're going to give you these huge, major AAA, you know, games on there. And it was like after that one, I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for another one.
Yeah.
And then a year goes by. And then 2 years goes by. And then 3 years go by. And then 4 years, I guess, around about the time where you got yours. And I was like, it never materialized.
Nothing came out of that.
Yeah, that was definitely an indie machine by the end of it.
Yeah. Well, folks, that's all we have for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Join us every Friday morning. We'll be there. You be there. Yep.
All right,
let's do it. Part two.
Part two. Super Ebola 2. Mission 4 is.
I still got some.
You got out of. Oh crap! What happened?
No! God, please, no! No!
Oh, that just went out. Okay. Oh. Breaking news: Titan loves Pac-Man.
I do love Pac-Man. I go with the PS3.
Nice.
Honestly, a.